I
Yeah,
see.
Mm.
yeah, looking forward to having more students actually next
Yeah,
academic year.
yeah. Hopefully there will be more students coming to your university, George. And also maybe
Mhm.
you can visit us also here in Indonesia.
Yeah, so we discussed faculty members exchange too, and yeah, looking
Uh-huh.
forward to exchange between our faculty members.
Yes, yes.
It would be
Of
perfectly, well for it will be
mhm.
beneficial for both universities.
Sure, sure. We'll try to explore more collaboration in the future. Pak Tuntun and George, I think our Vice Dean for Academic Affair has already joined our Zoom meeting. Pak
Mhm.
Riswandi, let us say hello to Pak Riswandi. Sir, Pak Riswandi, are you there already? I think he is still processing his computer because just now I contacted him
Mhm.
and he is trying to join our Zoom meeting. Now I found his name in the Zoom meeting, but still close camera and close microphone.
Not yet
Let
connected.
us.
Just like I
Uh-huh,
also have
uh-huh.
problem to switch on
Oh,
my what do you call camera. My
oh, did you?
yeah, I don't know, but it's okay. I think I
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
can listen to you all, and
Mm-hmm,
hopefully you can
mm-hmm.
also listen to me.
Yes, I can hear your voice clearly, Pa.
Mm. Yeah.
So, George, where are you at the moment? I believe that it's still early morning in Russia, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, my colleagues will come in an hour or so. Yeah, it's morning in Russia. Yeah, and I'm in my office actually.
Oh, you
Ah,
have already in your office.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. It's only 4 hours difference, right,
It's
between
for
Russia
yeah,
and Indonesia.
exactly. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's right. 4 hour
So
difference.
yeah, so now it's 10 minutes past 12. So it means in your place
Eight,
is eight.
eight,
Yeah,
ten.
yeah,
Yeah.
8:10. Okay,
mm-mm.
just wait a second. Let us call Pak Riswandi one more. Hello, Pak Riswandi. Can you hear us? Not yet, maybe.
Pak Yan,
Hmm?
Pak
Yes,
Yanwar,
yes,
why
Sir
don't you
Tuntun.
invite some of our colleagues? Pak Suparman, is he around now? Online already?
Yeah, already I invited him, but maybe he will not join our meeting. He
Oh,
cannot
oh,
join
I
our
see.
meeting because he has another activities. But
Oh, no, no.
George, here in our university, we are 3 persons teaching this cross-cultural understanding subjects for the second semester students. So
Okay.
actually, I also invited them to join this Zoom session as well. Okay,
Okay.
Pak Riswandi, are you there? Can you hear our voice?
Yes, Miss Yanwar,
Okay, okay,
I
thank you
hear.
very much. Yes, I can hear your voice clearly. Pak Tuntun and
Yep.
George, can we start the session?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our international guest lecture with Dr. George Varlamov from St. Petersburg University of Management, Technology, and Economics. And welcome to our sessions, George. Thank
Yes.
you very
Hello.
much. Yes, thank you very much for your willingness and kindness to join to help this kind of sharing sessions. And thank you very much, Papa Ibu. This collaborations is the implementation of our university collaboration because last few weeks ago, the rectors and vice rectors of Saint Petersburg UMTE visited us here in University of Lampung, and to follow up the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding between our university, we have a meeting with George for several times. And here are the implementation, and hopefully, as Pak Tuntun has already mentioned, that this is just the beginning. In the future, we can have more collaborations between our institutions, George, and thank you very much for making this happen. And before we start our international guest lecture, we would like to invite our team, which is now presented by Vice Dean 1 for Academic Affairs, that is Dr. Riswandi, to open these sessions officially. Pak Riswandi, could you please open this session officially, Pak? Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Pak Januar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good day, everyone in Indonesia, and good morning in Russian time. Honorable Mr. Jok Varlamov, okay,
Exactly, yeah.
Head of International Cooperation Department, Saint Petersburg University of Management Technologies and Economic Relation. Thank you very much for making this cooperation happen. Next, Honorable all lecturers and students from Saint Petersburg University of Management and Technologies and Economics who are also attending this international guest lecture. Honorable all my colleagues in the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, University of Lampung, and also all my students who are attending these lectures today. First of all, let's praise all God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His blessings and mercies, so we all can gather here in Zoom meeting to hold this guest lecture without any obstacles. I am Riswandi, the first Vice Dean, Collaboration and Academic of the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education at University of Lampung. On behalf of our faculty, all teachers, lecturers, and students, first would like to thank you to Dr. Jok Varlamov for your kindness to share your experience and knowledge to my student in this international guest lecture. I do hope that this kind of collaboration will be continued to many other IS and activities in the future. Thank you for making this collaboration happen. We also will be open for any other collaboration among our institution in the future. There are many possible collaboration that we can build in addition to this guest lecture. I heard that you will have to international conference in the coming December and February, and I believe that our lecturers and students will be willing to collaborate and participate in those two conferences. We'll also have an international education conference next year, and we'll discuss the possible collaborations in that conference. Maybe exchange keynote speakers or other kind of possible collaborations. Let's keep in touch and build stronger collaboration between our institution in the future. For my student that you for this guest lecture with the theme cross-cultural communication in Russia. I believe that you will get a lot of knowledge and wonderful experience of our cross-cultural communication happen in Russia. Please be active in listening and participating in the guest lecture. Thank you very much. Let's open this international guest lecture by saying Basmalah together. Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
I think that's enough from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much, Prof. Riswandi, for the opening speech. Now we come to the sessions that we are all waiting for. And George, how are you today, George?
Yeah, fine, fine, thank
Good.
you. And yeah,
Mhm.
I would. So may I start?
Yes, George. Time
Yeah,
is yours now, George. Thank you very
yeah,
much.
yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me for the session, and also I would like to thank Professor Riswandi for this, introduction. And we are also looking forward to cooperation between our university, and do hope that it's only the beginning of our joint activities, which we have already discussed, and make some planning for the next academic year. So today I would like to talk about cross cultural communications in Russia, and so let me start the presentation.
Yes,
Can
we
you
can see your
take?
screen. Yes, we
Okay.
can see the screen.
Okay, very good. So, my name is George Varlamov, and I'm associate professor in economics. But at the same time, as you see on the screen, I am in charge of international cooperation. So, I will try briefly to start, to start the discussion about cross-cultural communications in Russia, and I do hope that you will have lots of questions after I finish the presentation. So I do hope you know the geography pretty well, but I would like to start with some slides to show some pictures and demonstrate the map of Russia. Because when we talk about cross-cultural communications, there are lots of issues to discuss: geography, history, culture, languages, and many other aspects. Today I will touch upon some of them, but definitely it will be only the beginning. So you see, actually, Russia is a very big country, and I double checked with Google Maps before the session. The distance between us now is more than 12,000 kilometers. So we are quite far from each other, but at the same time, that is very good. So you see, we are in the northwest of Russia, but at the same time, it's very we are very happy that cooperation between the countries and between our universities is developing rapidly. So
Yeah.
here are some general facts just to remind you of.
George,
So
we are
first,
still seeing the first page.
okay,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. So can you see?
No, now it's we cannot see the slide PPT now.
Okay, I'm sorry, let us try again.
Yes. Last time we can see it, but it's only in the first page.
Just wait for a second.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for just let me for
Mhm.
informing me about it. Okay. So what about now?
Just wait a second, it's still processing. Not yet. Can you click the second page?
It's a map.
Yeah, the map one.
Can you see it now?
Not yet. It's still in the first page, not in the map.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
now it's map. Yeah. I think we need a process because I believe that the distance between us is 12,000 kilometers. So it needs process. Now it's mentioning.
Is it a full screen? Is it a full screen or just?
Not yet. Not a full screen yet. Yeah, that one. Can you click one more? That a full screen.
What about now?
Not yet. Or maybe it's in my screen. I don't know. How about other screens? Guys, can you see full screen?
Not yet,
Not yet, sir.
Not
Okay.
yet.
Unfortunately, no.
Mhm.
Still in
Unfortunately,
the
no.
map.
Not in the presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still processing. Oh yeah, now it's good. Now we can
So
see the
probably
map.
it's not a full
Yes.
screen, but so let us
Yeah.
let us continue.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's good. Now we can see the map.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will continue then. I will share the presentation, by the way, after the session is finished, so
Yes,
you will have a
yes.
possibility to check the presentation. So the Russian Federation is located both in Europe and Asia. So you see, it's one of their largest countries in the world, and the population of the country is almost 150 million people. So the language, so I will stop and talk a bit more about the Russian language, but the official language of the country is Russian. So there are lots of religions in Russia, but mainly it's Russian Orthodox Church. But at the same time, you see there is also Islam, Protestantism, Buddhism, and other religions are also presented in Russia. So the head of the state is president. So the head of the government is vice president. So I won't go too much into details, taking into account that time is limited. But this huge territory of the country is divided into administrative territorial structures, different subjects, and so you see it's possible to talk about 29 subjects, including 3 important cities like Moscow, which is the capital of Russia, St. Petersburg, where I'm at the moment, and also Sevastopol. And you see, actually, we also mentioned that the time difference between us is 4 hours now. We have morning, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, you have lunchtime, but in general, the territory of Russia is divided into several time zones, and the difference between the eastern and western parts of the country is 10 hours. So you see, it's even difficult sometimes to do business and to communicate with people in different who are located in different parts of the country. And definitely Russia is rich in different mineral resources. So here I presented just some of them, which probably you know perfectly well, like oil, gas, copper, nickel, and many others, taking into account the territory of the country. So, and just a couple of words about St. Petersburg. Actually, St. Petersburg is often called northern capital of Russia, taking into account the history of the city, and it's the second biggest city in the country. And St. Petersburg is a very popular destination among tourists. And there are lots of sites, there are lots of cathedral, bridges, museums, whatever. And many of them, actually, you see almost 40 monuments are included into the UNESCO list of heritage of UNESCO. So actually, there are lots of famous famous sites which are very popular among tourists. So here are just some of their sites. Their Hermitage, some cathedrals, the main prospect of St. Petersburg. So the bridge, actually, which is a symbol, of the city. But at the same time, it should be also mentioned that the suburbs of the city of St. Petersburg are also extremely popular among tourists, and actually they are sometimes called the pearl necklace of St. Petersburg. So here, just you have some ideas, some glimpses of those suburbs, actually, which I do hope some of you will have a possibility to see when you are in Russia and when you are in St. Petersburg. So, and I would like to start the discussion, and here are just some general things about Russian culture, and just some of the ideas to mention. So, just one of the researchers, Yael Richmond, just from the United States, actually, in his book From No to Yes, actually, it is the translation of the book From Нет to Да. Understanding Russians actually opened his book with the following quotation: "I have never met anyone who understood Russians." And actually, like, there are still lots of discussion that some cultures do not understand actually the Russian culture, the Russian country, and the behavior of the Russian people. So here we see just one of the quotations of Winston Churchill from the United Kingdom: "A riddle wrapped in a mystery, inside an enigma." And also just a quotation of one of the well-known Russian poet, Fyodor Tyutchev, who wrote. This is the translation, but I do hope that you can also understand. "With the mind alone, Russia cannot be grasped. Her greatness no ordinary yet expands. Alone and unique she stands. In Russia, one can only have trust." So these are just some of the ideas actually about the complexity of Russia, taking into account the history, taking into account the territory, huge territory, taking into account those religions which are popular in Russia, and so on and so forth. So once you are students who are studying cross-cultural communications, I do hope that this is just a well-known fact to you, that cross-cultural communications are extremely popular and important these days, taking into account cultural connections, taking into account business opportunities, taking into account academic mobility between students from different universities. So therefore, it's definitely extremely important for all of us to know each other better. And sessions like this, I do hope, will give you some perspective on the country, on some cultural aspects, on some values, on the history, and also on some aspects related to culture of the country. So this is just one of their just ideas. What do we mean by the culture? So, and definitely I won't go too much into details about all the elements of the culture wheel, but I will mention some of them, like language, like traditions and rituals, values a bit, and probably some other aspects just about Russia. So, I would like to start with the language. So here we see just some statistics how many people do use different languages, and we see that Russian is among those languages which is spoken in the world, and quite a number of people use Russian either as an official language or as a language of communication. And you see what is interesting. So definitely the figures probably are not, exact, but still just to give you an idea, just on the very first slide, I mentioned the population of the country. And if you remember, it's about 150 million people. But here we see that actually almost twice more people use the Russian language as a means of communication. So, and therefore, when you hear the Russian speech, you perfectly well, and you understand it perfectly well. That probably it's not the person who's from Russia, but there are also countries, mainly in Eastern Europe and in the former USSR countries, where Russia is still popular. And in some countries, the Russian language is an official language too. So just to give you an idea, actually. So here are some facts about the language. In here, just I included just a picture of the Russian alphabet. So for those of you who are interested in their language, so you can just have a look. You see that it's different, from the Indonesian language. And here, just at the upper right corner of this slide, you see just one of the phrase. So it says, "How are you?" And in Russian, it should be, "Привет, как дела?" So for those of you who are interested, in practicing the language, so you can practice a bit, and next time we have sessions, so you can say to the speaker from Russia, "Привет, как дела?" Hello, how are you? I think I won't go too much into details, but you see that also the Russian language is an official language of the United Nations organization. And also just a couple of weeks ago, we had a person who visited their International Space Station, and we also addressed him just a question about the language that is used there. Definitely, it's a mix of it's an English language, but also Russian is definitely often used there a lot. So, and when we talk about languages in communication, so we understand that there are verbal communications, non-verbal communications. So, and we understand that non-verbal communications might be different in different cultures. So here, just I included some of the pictures, actually, just about the Russian, gestures. Yeah, probably some of them are not used quite a lot nowadays, but the first one, thumb up, definitely it's used quite a lot when we want to show that everything is okay, everything is cool, and so on, so forth. But it's also just an interesting topic to talk, and probably it might be one of the topics for our discussions in the next for the next sessions about languages, differences in cross-culture, in verbal, non-verbal communications in languages. So here just included also some of the ideas related to non-verbal communications in Russia. So just I will also send you the presentation, so you will have a link. And you can check just the link. It's good. There are some videos and descriptions where just researchers and those who are involved in teaching languages share their expertise. But what is important? So first of all, for example, handshake is popular among males. Among women, it's not that popular, but still you can meet it, especially in official situation. In informal situations, definitely females or women do not usually greet each other using the handshake. So just a couple of more ideas. So I don't know whether we have time or not, but it will be also interesting to hear about Indonesia. So is it similar or different? Like, for example, hands in your pocket. So definitely, especially in formal situations, is not a good sort of manner how to behave. So do not whistle. So because there is a saying that if you whistle, so you won't have money. So I will also talk about this, superstitions a bit later. Definitely, eye contact is extremely important because it's important, I guess, in all the languages, but in Russian in particular, it's a sign of respect. Definitely, it's a sign of, and it's an issue which helps to build trust in communication between people, between different people. So here are just some of nonverbal communications. So I think I will skip them for a while. But when you have the presentation, so you will have a possibility to watch these videos and what they mean. You will have an explanation. So religion and other aspects I would like to mention a bit more in details. So there is a variety of religions in Russia: Orthodox Christianity, Catholics, Protestantism, Islam, Buddhism, and so on, so forth. And it's interesting that in different regions of the country, so this or that religion might be more or less, popular. So there are regions in Russia where Islam is the main religion, but at the same time there are regions where Orthodox Christianity is the main religion. So but definitely Orthodox Christianity and Islam are the most widespread religions in Russia. So I searched a bit information. I'm not sure, just here we have the link, but just how the figures are, accurate and exact. But here we have the tendency actually showing the red line actually that is going up. Christianity, or Russian Orthodox religion. Blue line, Islam religion is also going up, but on the other hand, the line with dots, actually those which are not religion, we see that it's in decreasing. That actually for just a couple of last decade, the number of people who are in religions actually increased. So here we have also just some statistics, the link to their source. We see that the main religion is Orthodox. Muslims are also just quite common in Russia. As to other religions, so they are present, but that definitely the number of those persons who follow this or that religion is not as big. So geography, just one of the aspects which is necessary to mention. Probably you know that there are some theories which explain behavior of people and from the perspective of geographical position of this or that country. Like, for example, people who behave differently in the north and in the south of the country. So similar refers actually to Russia too. So there are researchers actually and which explain behavior of the Russian people from the perspective of geographical positioning. The explanation might be, sort of geography, climate, taking into account that actually the climate in some regions of the country is rather, severe, and the winters are long, summers are short. So therefore, you have to wait until the summer is there, until you have to wait until the harvest is ready to be gathered, and so on and so forth. And therefore, from the historical times, or some researchers explain the behavior of Russians like that. So that they wait until, not the last moment, but for the number of just months or whatever, for a certain period of time, but then they can get together and act very actively and get the results expected. So interesting, just to keep in mind, and interesting for, just for those experts who are studying cross-cultural communications in different cultures. So I think we won't have time. We won't have time for this exercise today, but usually I like to do that with my students, actually. Trying to think of those, features of characters which belong to, for example, Russian, Indonesian, especially if we have an international group of students where Russian and international students are present, and actually discussing actually how national peculiarities are seen by our students, even if they have never met people from Russia or from Indonesia or from any other culture at all. So it's interesting because in any case, we have certain stereotypes because we read books, we watch movies, we listen to the music, we travel, and so on and so forth. And therefore, in any case, we have certain perspectives on people from different cultures. So, and therefore, I guess it's also important to mention that there might be certain stereotypes. And so when we assume that people in a certain group fit the group description, like in our case, for example, Russians, or all the Russians are like that. So, and I will mention some of the stereotypes which are often met in the internet, in books, in movies, wherever related to Russia. But at the same time, it's also, I guess, necessary to mention that prejudice actually are dangerous when we meet people with such a position, with such perspective, when we assume different negative things about people from different culture. So this is really dangerous, and it might be harmful for building cooperation, for building trust, for actually discussing joint efforts and whatever between different cultures, between different countries. So, and definitely one of the pieces of advice that researchers and practitioners give, that definitely it's good to have sort of some stereotypes. They might be positive and negative, but definitely it's better to change our prejudice into stereotypes. But what is really important, to know other cultures, to know other countries, and to have experience, personal experience, which can be used in building cooperation with people from different cultures, and that will be of mutual benefit for all the participants of such cooperation. So, and here just some stereotypes about Russia. So unfortunately, time is limited, but so you can think, and so here you see some of the pictures So whether the question I address to my students at this moment is often like that. Actually, have you heard anything of that, and what do you know about this stereotype? So actually, just one of them. Russia is unbearably cold. So it might be partly true, because in some regions of the country the temperature might be low, and in some places of the country, taking into account the huge territory of the country and different climates from the Arctic to subtropical in the south, Arctic in the north, subtropical in the south of the country. So definitely there might be some places where the temperatures might be extremely cold. Frankly speaking, I didn't remember, but it's about 40 or 50 degrees minus 0 Celsius. But for example, in St. Petersburg, the weather is quite, comfortable, at least for those people who live in the north west of the country. So, for example, I'm checking the temperature right now. So we have about 17 degrees above zero. It might be a bit cold for you, but for us, actually, it's quite okay. It's a rather comfortable weather for us. So it's taken into account, considering the first stereotype. So it's partly true, but so you're welcome to come to Russia, and definitely you will survive, even if you come here as an exchange student in winter. We have such students who come to us from Indonesia, Thailand, China, and some other countries, and they survive without no problems. So the other one, actually, that probably you've also heard that all Russians drink vodka. It's a strong spirit in Russia. So, but the statistics, official statistics nowadays say that actually it's not true. Actually, and the Russians are popular in sports these days. So, and sort of bad habits are not that popular, and some people probably do that, but not all the Russians. And for example, in those people I know are actually they do not drink vodka at all. So it is one of those stereotypes. So when you see it in the movies, so it might be one of their stereotypes about Russia. And actually, there are statistics which say that other countries, people from other countries, they drink much more. For example, wine or strong spirits and whatever. But this is just interesting. So Russians never smile. So also partly true. And personally, I met people from the United States and from Europe who mentioned this stereotype. But you see, just one of their sort of manners of behavior of the Russian people is definitely not to smile to people you do not know. But when you know a person, when you meet a person for more than just one time, let's put it like that. So definitely smile is there, and Russian people smile. But they do not smile to those people in the street. They do not smile to those people they have never met. So it might be partly true. So just a couple of other stereotypes, like about animals and bears in the streets. So also just a stereotype, because, for example, even if I want to see one with my kid, I have to go to a zoo, but definitely it's not typical to meet animals in the streets and even in the forest. And like other stereotypes are also present, but they are not 100% true. And but it's interesting to know, and definitely the more sessions and discussions like today we have, the less or fewer stereotypes actually are left. So just a couple of words about superstitions, because probably you've mentioned, you've noticed on the previous slide that Russians are very superstitious. So here you see some of them. And it's possible to mention that some people still believe in some of their signs, but I wouldn't say that they are just extremely just popular these days. Taking into account my previous slides in the presentations where I mentioned some statistics about those people who follow either the religion, because all these superstitions actually are not, at least in the Russian Orthodox Church, so it doesn't support all these superstitions and all those signs from pre-Christian era. So like a black cat, when it crosses a street in front of you, so you see it's so on the slide you have an explanation. So it's considered to be some sort of failure in business, or so it's unlucky sign. So therefore you should roll your shoulder over 3 times, just or just the other option is to wait for somebody else to pass the road before you, or actually when you have to return home, if you forget, for example, just mobile phone or whatever, especially if you depart into a business trip. So it also considered to be an unlucky sign. So then you have to look back into the mirror before you leave the home for the second time. And actually so on and so forth. Like odd and even numbers in Russia, actually even numbers are considered to be the number which are presented at funerals. So, and therefore, if you want to give flowers to your girlfriend, for example, so definitely it's a good idea to present her with an odd number of flowers, and so on, so forth. So I won't stop here too much into detail. So here just you have some other superstitions which are typical in Russia. It's also just a question here, just whether they're the same, whether you have similar superstitions, and whether you have them at all in Indonesia or not. But this is just a question to consider, and probably we can discuss it. Next time. So just I collected just gathered together just a couple of research on cross-cultural communications. Definitely, once you are expert in cross-cultural understanding, so you know all these and many other theories. But Gerd Hofstadter, Tronpinars, and Richard Lewis, and many other who contributed a lot. And if we check actually what Gerd Hofstadter is talking about the Russian culture, so we'll figure out the following aspects. I won't go too much into details. So it's from Gerd Hofstadter's research about Russia, about Russian culture too. And so you see that Russians prefer to avoid ambiguous situations. So context, background information is important for the Russians. So definitely a pragmatic mindset is extremely important, and I fully agree with these findings of Hofstadter and his followers about the Russian culture. And so some of the aspect might be discussed, but so definitely here we do not have too much time to go into all these details. So Edward Hall, Richard Lewis, and I think what is interesting. So here we have one of the outcomes of Richard Lewis, and what is interesting. So you see Russia, so which is somewhere in between multi-active and linear active active culture. So and definitely, and by the way, Indonesia, you see, it's according to Richard Lewis, is quite just opposite, yeah, somewhere in between multi-active and reactive group of culture according to Richard Lewis model. But at the same time, I think I will skip it for just a while. But at the same time, according to Gerd Hofstadter, so I'm sure you know this tool when it is possible to compare different cultures. So just I checked Russia and Indonesia. According to Gerd Hofstadter, now you see all the six groups singled out by researcher and those people who follow his outcomes. So when you see in some aspects like power distance, Russia and Indonesia just more or less, and like for example long-term orientation. So Russia and Indonesia, and for example masculinity too, are more or less close to each other. But in some aspects like individualism and collectivism and indulgence and, for example, uncertainty avoidance, so we are actually, you see, the difference is quite long according to Gerd Hofstadter's model. And what is interesting when we talk about different cultures, definitely it's also important to consider different leadership styles. So, and here we see the outcomes presented by Richard Lewis in his book When Cultures Collide, Leading Across Cultures. And what is interesting, so Richard Lewis in his in his research also offers the Russian leadership style. Frankly speaking, today I wouldn't agree with this picture. Probably it was like that in the Soviet Union times about 30 years and more ago. Today I wouldn't agree with Richard Lewis, but at the same time, so this is just one of the ideas for us to keep in mind when we are building cooperation between business partners in different countries and different cultures. And what is good in the outcome presented by Richard Lewis, that there are some recommendations, like some aspects which are better to be just avoided, which should be avoided when you deal with people, businessmen in Russia. So here you see some of the ideas, and probably they will be beneficial for you too when you meet people from Russia, and if you're planning to do joint projects and do business in Russia. So, and here just a question, which is also which I also like to discuss with students, but taking into account that gradually we are approaching the end of the session. That is Russia a strategically important market for Russian investments? So, but I would personally answer yes, because we see that actually cooperation, especially in the Asian, so to say, direction these days is developing rapidly. So here you see some of the hints, some of the ideas how to behave with people in Russia. So I won't go too much into details at this moment, but I would like to discuss it more next time we meet and discuss. And one more aspect I would like to mention. So probably it might be beneficial for you too. When we talk about cross-cultural communications, definitely economic issue and the economy of the country is also just one of those aspects, one of those spheres which should be taken into account. And return. Yeah, and returning to my previous question about the interest of international investments to doing business in Russia. So we see that actually still. So probably you have heard about sanctions against the country. So and in 2022. Actually, more than 15,000 sanctions in different spheres were imposed on the country. So mainly by their Western countries. So in financial sector, in trade, in energy sector, in logistics, in transport, in private sector, and so on and so forth. And but what I would like to mention too, that actually also many countries left, many companies, international companies left the country. So and here you see some of their companies, which some of them are well known, which left the market of the country in 2022. So more than 1,000 companies left the market of the Russian Federation. But at the same time, according to the Reuters agency, the losses of the international companies actually are extremely huge. They exceed 100 billion US dollars. So the companies left quite a lot. But at the same time, it should be mentioned that there are lots of perspectives in developing cooperation between Russia and other countries. And here just a bit of statistics. So probably you have also heard that according to the World Bank, the Russia occupied in 2020. It takes some time for the World Bank to process the the statistics from the countries, but we see that the Russian economy overtook Japan and took the fourth largest economy in the world what purchase power parity is concerned. So the economic situation is developing in Russia, and it might be also just one of their aspects to consider when we talk about cross-cultural communication, because cultures is not about museums, art, music, whatever only. It's about political issues, history, economy of the country, and many other countries too. And here, actually, you see there are a lot of opportunities for the Russian economy to develop, and cooperation between Russia and CIS countries, between Asia, is developing a lot. What exports and what imports is concerned. And so I think, taking into account that it's a bit more than 1 hour now, I think I will stop here. And if you have questions, I would be happy to answer them. So I think we have a bit more time for question answers session, if you have any. So
Yes.
thank you for your attention. I will be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, George. Please give a very big applause for George, Bapak dan Ibu. It's very interesting. You have explained very comprehensively about your own culture, Russian culture, and also you have taken into account some comparisons between Russia and Indonesia. And I believe that some of your belief also we have it here in Indonesia, because if we see a cat crossing our way on the road, it's a bad luck for us here in Indonesia. And I just realize that you have the same kind of belief as well. And George, it is interesting for me because I just known that Russia has 10 different time zones. Oh, it's a lot. Here in Indonesia, we have 3 different time zones, and we feel that there is a challenge that we have in those 3 different time zones. And George, you have 10 different time zones. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for your explanations, and hopefully that our students and our lecturers here also have a lot of knowledge and open up their horizons to understand more about cross-cultural communication and understanding between Indonesia and Russia. Now, George, as time is very limited, I would like to open a question and answer sessions. Guys, if you have question to George, time is yours to raise your hand, and I will open up your please open up your camera and your microphone. Rela Islami.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yanuar. And
Mhm.
sorry, I cannot open my camera.
Okay.
Hi, George. It's such a really nice presentations. Thank you. And I would like to ask, what cultural values influence the way Russians communicate in academic settings, and what communication challenges do international students often face in Russian educational institutions? Thank you, George.
Okay, thank you, Rela Islami. George, Rela
Oh.
Islami is a student for master degree program here in University of Lampung. Would you like to answer
Yeah, thank you
directly
for
the
the question.
question, or we need to add more question? What do you think?
Actually, I think I can try to answer, because
Okay.
actually, not to forget, not to forget a
Okay.
question.
Okay,
Yeah,
George.
thank you for the question. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting, topic, especially if we talk about academic mobility of students, because we understand that actually there might be some differences, some differences in the system of education in different countries, and also there might be also just some different just values. What teaching and studying process is concerned, what research is concerned. So, frankly speaking, I think it will be a bit challenging for me to answer this question at this moment, because I'm trying to, just revise, those students and those challengers we have come across. But frankly speaking, I think I can't give you the answer to the question straight away. about any challenges, any difficulties of those international students when they're here. Because I think first of all we are trying to get them together with the Russian students, and so we have the bodies program. So when we do hope that actually it's functioning well, and it's our Russian students, they support international students, no matter which country and which culture they come from. And I think I wouldn't give any particular difficulties, challenges so far, but yeah, but it's a good question. So probably I will just put it just for myself for the future, actually, to consider it, and probably return with the answer next time we meet.
Okay, thank you very much, George, for your explanations. Because I also have the same question, George. After hearing your explanations, how do Russian people actually welcome the foreign students, or what are the challenges that do students usually have when they first come to Russia? I think in the future we need to identify the potential challenges that the international students. So when we prepare our students to study or do exchange in your country, then we can give them some explanations about what kind of challenges that they may face during their study in Russia.
Yeah, it might be a good idea, in taking into account that probably I've
Uh-huh.
mentioned that we have two students from the
Indonesia.
University of Lampung
Uh-huh.
these days. So probably it would be a very good idea for us to get feedback, actually,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
what we usually do about those challenges they met during the training. So, and probably this information would be beneficial for us in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Bu Rela Islami, and thank you very much, George. Other students, if you still have one more questions, George, if it is okay. Yes, we have Bayu Anggoro.
Mhm.
Can you open your mic and your camera, Bayu Anggoro?
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Sir. Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you, Sir Anwar, for the opportunity. And hello, Mr. George. I'm Bayu. And I have a question about some stereotypes that you show to us about Russia. In the in the slide that you showed us, you mentioned some of the stereotypes about Russia, like Russia is unbearably cold and all Russians drink vodka and another stereotypes. And many of these stereotypes about Russia are quite popular internationally. And my question is, which one do you think is the most misleading or frustrating about Russians, and why, from your point of view? Is that clear?
Oh, yeah, thank you for the question. It's a good remark, and yeah, and therefore, actually, I also just included those stereotypes to my included them in add this information to the slide, to the PowerPoint presentation, because there are lots of movies, publications, whatever, where some of the stereotypes are mentioned. So, and I try to comment on them, that I would say that there might be something true about some of them, either from historical perspective, or from cultural or whatever. But I would say that actually many of them are misleading, because they are not 100% true nowadays. Because when we just come across publications that it's dangerous, for example, in Russia, just to work in the streets and whatever, but it may happen in any country. So, and the official statistics say that actually it's rather safe, for example, in St. Petersburg these days. So definitely things might happen, but it's not like as it is described in some publications, especially in some mass media, which are published in their Western countries, or just for example those about strong alcohol, about vodka. Just personally, I know many movies, uh, made by American, producers and companies,
Yeah.
where there are lots of characters in the
Mhm.
movies, Russians, and often they are drunk.
Uh,
So official statistics these days also say that it's not true.
true.
Definitely, there might be people who take alcohol, but
Uh-huh.
not all the Russian. And probably I've mentioned that personally, I know just very limited number of people who take alcohol at all.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
actually, official statistics, international statistics say that there are countries where, for example, wine is a very popular drink, and people
Uh-huh.
drink much more wine there, or for example,
Mhm.
strong drinks, and so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
actually, I would say that all of them are misleading to a certain extent, and all of them are not true. Partly, probably yes, there might be
Mhm.
cases, but actually, uh, it's
This.
better to come to Russia and witness sort of yourself, just to get your personal experience about, staying in Russia, and you will figure out that actually there are no problems about it.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you very much, George and Bayu, for your question and answer. George, two things come up to my mind whenever I heard about Russia. First is the MMA fighter, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and the second one is Marsha and the Bear.
Mhm.
It's yeah. Whenever I heard Russia, two things come up to my mind is Marsha and the Bear and Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Mhm.
George, do you still have time? About 5 minutes, or we should end this sessions?
Unfortunately, I
Yes.
think I have to go,
Yeah.
because I think
Okay.
I've mentioned that we have a delegation of our
Yes. Yes.
partners
Yes.
from China just in
Yeah.
half an hour. So
Now.
I'm
Okay.
afraid I have to
Okay.
go this time. But I think
Yes,
if
George.
if you are interested, and if you have
Mm-hmm.
more questions, so I
Mm-hmm.
think we may continue. And
Uh-huh.
I know that my colleagues, faculty members from
Yes.
our university, are
Uh-huh.
interested to contribute too. So
Oh,
I do
great.
hope that we may have a series of
Uh-huh.
sessions like this
Yes.
next
Right.
next
Right.
academic year.
Hmm. Thank you very much, George, for your time and for your insights about Russian cultures. And also, you have already compared between Russian and Indonesian. I think it's a very enlightening, it's very good knowledge for our students, so they know about Russians, about its stereotypes, and some of the belief that you have in Russia. Thank you very much, Bapak Ibu. As George has already mentioned that he has something else to do. I'm so sorry, George, because we extended the times
No
about
problem.
20 minutes. So hopefully in the future we can have this kind of discussion series with our students, also with your students, and also probably with your colleagues, with my colleagues as well. So thank you very much, George. Bapak Ibu, let's give a very big applause and thanks to George. Give your reactions into your Zoom meetings. I would like to give this to George.
Yeah, thank you for
Okay.
inviting.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was well,
A short
unfortunately,
time. Yeah.
yeah, time was very limited, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
looking forward to our cooperation and our sessions in the future when we have a bit more opportunity to
Yes.
discuss and talk
Mm-hmm.
about all these aspects
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
between our cultures. So thank you
Okay.
for inviting, and yeah, looking forward to cooperation in the future.
Thank you very much, Bapak Ibu. Can you open up your camera? We have photo sessions for a while, George. And please put your reactions. So there will be a lot of reactions in your screen. Pak Fajar, can you please help us to take the screenshot? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much, Bapak Ibu. Thank you very much, George, for your time and your kindness to share your experience. Hopefully that we can meet again sometimes in the future. Thank you very much. And should we close this international guest lecture by saying Alhamdulillah together? Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
George, for your
Thank you.
time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining this
Thank you.
international guest lecture. Thank you, George.